My name is Phoenix, and I'm a tattoo artist. I own Sundew Tattoo here in Monmouth. I think it would be hard to trace it back to one specific point because I've always been really into art, but I probably noticed maybe an infatuation with it in around 5th grade because I was just doing a lot of writing and drawing comics and stuff, and I inspired other people in my class to make comics too, so that was pretty fun. When it comes to expressing myself through different mediums, I think it's really valuable to be able to express myself in different ways and have different outlets and just different ways of also connecting with people and storytelling and all the good things. If my music were translated into a tattoo style, so my music is pretty personal and raw, I would say. So if that were a tattoo, it would probably not have the super pristine lines, maybe a little bit of rough around the edges, but on purpose. Some kind of image that would evoke emotion, plus maybe some kind of poetry along with it. With songwriting, I don't know. I feel like I might have kind of an interesting approach to it. I'm sort of self-taught with my songwriting, and what I basically do is I'll kind of strum out some sort of chord progression that inspires me at the moment, and I'll come up with the lyrics just sort of like whatever, I can't think of the word for it is, but just like whatever my train of thought. It's like stream of consciousness, really. And sometimes it sounds good and sometimes not, but that's really how I just like get my inside emotions outside, and I think it normally turns out pretty cool. So for custom tattoos, I take everything that somebody has told me about what they want and all the pictures they've sent me for examples, and I basically just mash it all together into one thing just that meets all of their expectations to the best of my abilities. And yeah, that's basically how I do customs, which is like 90% of my work, I would say. But for Flash, which is something that I've come up with on my own, that I put out there into the world for people to choose from, I mostly gain inspiration from looking at pictures of plants or animals, or even going out into nature and finding those things myself. And I just kind of do whatever makes me the most happy. If a law restricted one of my art forms, I'd probably have to say I would fight against something restricting tattooing the most. One, because it's my job, of course, and then also I just think it's really important for people to be able to express themselves however they want and have that bodily autonomy, and there's just so many good things about tattooing that would really suck if it were restricted. For obstacles in my tattoo career, for me one of the biggest ones, or maybe the biggest one, is trying to find a work-life balance, which, saying it now, it almost feels kind of silly because I think a lot of tattoo artists have that same issue, and probably a lot of us don't ever really figure it out. But yeah, I have felt in the past like I've had some kind of art block at times, or maybe I'm just not really feeling inspired to do my art. But when that happens for me, it's mostly just like a general burnout with life, and I just, it usually means to me that I need to take some time to just like relax and try to delegate some of my responsibilities so I'm not just miserable in general. Lately, what I've been doing, I'm like 4 years in right now, what I've been doing is making sure I have at least one day a week where I just have time to do whatever I want to do, not even house chores or anything, just like whatever makes me the most happy, and I think that keeps me sane. There's a lot of issues with AI in my opinion, but when talking about art specifically, I don't like that it can be used to replace the human aspect of it and take people's jobs who have been like practicing art their whole life and putting their heart and soul into it. And it basically, I feel like it's just an imitation, and it just takes the soul out of it. Maybe some people will just want like a cheap, fast alternative, and I think that's already somewhat of a thing with art, with people just wanting to pull from Pinterest and being like, I want this exactly. I mean, you could argue that AI can imitate humans pretty well to a certain point and probably like getting better and better at it. But to me, I really value like the person and the soul behind the art. And like regardless of whether or not someone believes in souls, I think we could probably all agree that each person is different based on our experiences and just like how we naturally are, and it's going to affect how your art turns out. So I just value that so much more than something made by a computer. I've been pretty lucky to not experience a lot of people dismissing my art because of my identity or just whatever preconceived notions they might have, like specifically with the trans community. I think there's like a lot of people who just are really like unaware of what it's like and things like that, and I hope I can just be a good example of we're just normal people just wanting to do my job, do tattoos, and just be happy. I think tattooing gives a really unique opportunity to connect with a lot of different types of people through art, and I hope that won't ever go away. I feel like that won't ever truly go away, even with AI. I think there's always going to be people driven to create, whether it sells or not, and there's always going to be somebody who is able to connect with their art. That's at least what I hope. I've learned that I do actually, as much as an introvert that I am, I do actually really appreciate the connections I have with other people, and especially connecting through art. I think that's really special to be able to have that. How does it feel to have accomplished this much so far? Honestly, I think I need to be better about just stepping back and appreciating like what I've done up until this point, because in my mind I'm always thinking of like what's the next thing I want to do and how can I improve. But when I do, those are moments when I do feel like I can appreciate everything. I just feel like grateful that I was able to make it to this point, and for everyone who's like helped me to get this far. I've performed my music and I've sold prints and stuff. But for in the future, what I want to do, at one point I really want to put out an album for my music, and also what's been mostly on my mind lately that I haven't really told many people about is that I'm in the very early stages of creating a graphic novel. So I'm really excited about that. I'm just doing all the research I can at this point and figuring out how exactly I want the story to go and what I want it to say. Yeah, one day it came about just because I think I was daydreaming about something or other, which I do a lot, and I just thought this would be a really cool story. And the more I sort of developed the plot in my head, the more I got sucked into it, and I was like, I need to make this real. To other aspiring artists, I would say especially if you're thinking about selling your art one day, or if you are selling your art now, I would say to make sure that you're setting aside time to do something that you are really passionate about, because oftentimes what sells may not be what really gets you excited, and sometimes what you're really passionate about making, people might even say it's cringy or it's like too much or too this or that, but you can't listen to that. You really just need to set aside time to do what you want to do, because that's really, I think, how you keep the passion alive and how you keep yourself inspired. And yeah, I think that's just really essential. A little while ago, I don't normally do this, but I posted a piece of art online that I made that was sort of like a vent art piece that I was getting my emotions out with it, and it wasn't even really my typical style, but I just really felt like I wanted to share that, even though some people might think like, wow, this is really sad, or this is intense, or like this is cringy. But I put that out there, and like immediately I was like, do I regret this? I don't know. But then somebody reached out to me to say that it like really touched them, like they had some kind of trauma in their past, and it just like it made them feel seen. So to me, I don't know why I'm getting so emotional about this, but that's like so important to me. Just like, I feel like when you really put your soul into something as an artist and like somebody connects with that, that's like the most special thing. So to other artists, I would say like definitely like don't shy away from that, because there's going to be someone who like is on the same wavelength as you and they get that. And yeah, everyone deserves to feel seen. So that's my one big thing.